Hello, 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 and welcome to the Mystic Nerd Squad podcast. I'm your host, Kelly Meyerson, joined tonight by one of my former guests, a very good friend and fellow author, writer extraordinaire, Miss Atlantis Wolf. Welcome, Atlantis.
Thank you, Kelly. Great to be here.
It is so good to have you. I'm just going to read everybody your bio because I love to give a flavor of my guests and just let people know what they're in for in this conversation. Emily Atlantis Wolf teaches people intuitive techniques so they can make decisions with natural confidence. She is a professional healer and group facilitator who mystical teachings of shamanism with practical tools from medical massage. She creates retreats, breathwork and cacao events, and online group coaching, and all that and more. Ooh. And if you're watching on video, or if you're not watching on video, if you're on video, you'll see how gorgeous she looks this evening with her red lip. And if you're not, I would encourage you to go check out the video because there is just a glow about you, around you. What are you doing? And what is working for you so well right now that you just look like you're lit from within?
What's the secret?
What's the
How
secret?
how dare you be so happy while everything is crumbling?
Not at all. I just want more of this in my life. Yeah.
Yeah, that's a great question. And I'll give you a little how how do I keep going in the middle of trying times, challenging times? This actually just came up on a post. Somebody was talking about something on LinkedIn, and it was about resilience. And they were saying, well, you have to work hard and working harder and then see it. And I said, I respectfully disagree. And I said, that doesn't really work. That's just burnout. That's just fast track express path to burnout. And so they said, okay, what do you do to be so resilient? And I said, I get up every day with a sunrise alarm clock, an alarm that is not my phone, and then I go downstairs and I have a nice big pint-sized glass of water. And then without touching my phone or my tech or my laptop, without taking any cats, pets, people, I go for a walk outside for an hour. When I
Mm.
get back, I make a little like espresso size cup of coffee with oat milk that I made because I really like making oat milk and just getting the right sort of flavors and ingredients and the right amount of creaminess. So I make myself a little bit of cup of coffee and I look into that cup and I think about every single person and being who had to work so that I could drink this cup of coffee. The person who had to plant the beans, cultivate the beans, sow the beans, grind the beans, transport it, put it on my shelf, get it to me where I could pick it up, get it to come home, mixed with the water from the Great Lakes. I live on Lake Erie. Bring that in. Somebody made the mug. And so I look into that mug and I say, I send love to everything and everyone who helped bring this into my life. I send you love and I receive your love in the form of that cup of coffee. Everything's built on love. And that's where I start every single day.
Mm.
After that little cup of coffee, yes, I check my phone. I've got a whole bunch of kids. I check and make sure that the kids are okay, that, if they texted me, phone's downstairs, they're fine. I am not 911. I am their mother. If it was an actual emergency, call 911. Don't call me. People that sleep with their phone next to them and all this stuff, stop. Like, doesn't work for me. Not good for your sleep. Sleep is important, as you know. I also take blue-green algae. Blue-green algae is the most nutrient-dense plant on Earth, and it grows in Oregon. And because it's algae, it grows faster than they can cultivate it, so it can't be over-harvested. And there's many brands of it, but it's a powder, and you take a little powder, and it has cleared up my rosacea, cleared up my little menopause tummy. Don't have that anymore. Weirdly, It has cleared up my inner ear pressure. I used to not be able to get into an elevator, go up like 10 or 20 stories without getting out and saying, okay, I have to wait until the pressure kind of gets back into equilibrium. It felt like there was kind of pushing in. Nope, gone. I didn't even realize it. I was in Chicago. I got off the elevator. I walked to the room in the hotel and got all the way to the room and thought, I'm okay. My ears are okay. This is incredible. That was the only thing that had changed as I started to take blue-green algae. I also take marine collagen because I'm not 20 and it keeps my face clear. And turkey tail mushroom tincture. So
Mm.
turkey tail is one of the 5 medicinal mushrooms, and that one in particular is good for inflammation. So I'm always looking for what is the number one anti-inflammatory medication, medicine, natural medicine that I can take. Turmeric is good, turmeric and black pepper, good. This is actually better. And because my mom died of breast cancer, I'm always looking for things that are going to help fight cancer. Many, 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 many papers have shown turkey tail mushrooms, a tincture. So that's where they hang out in alcohol. It could be vodka, could be gin, could be whatever you want for 30 days, boiled in water so it's shelf stable. You take that every day, you are well on your way to preventing cancer. And I also sleep well. I go and go and go and go. I take a nap every day from 4 to 4:30 and I sleep. Just, I don't know what to tell you other than I get good sleep. I walk every day. I don't really think it doesn't need to be complicated. I feel like our biology tries to keep us alive and healthy and good. Um, I get most of my food from the grocery store instead of restaurants or eating out or, just sort of on the go. I think that that helps a lot. I think making your own food, more of your own food than going out, portion wise, and just the freshness and it's about making your choices. Like my son works at the grocery store, so he works in the meat department, and he's 23. So it's almost impossible to fill him up. He's a black hole in a beautiful way. And so we can get grass-fed steak, organic grass-fed steak for like $20 and make it at home. And we can't even go out to a restaurant. The last time we went out, when someone was like, "Oh, let me take you out," and we're like, "All right," we took them out. It was $85 for the same steak, and it wasn't
Mhm.
that good. I'll be honest, because you make the way that we make it, we like it. You make it in butter and you baste it and you put garlic in there and black pepper and all this other stuff. It's exceptional. So it's also a way, I think, to handle what's happening these days is to say, I'm going to take back my own food. I'm going to make my own oat milk. I'm going to find the things that are nutrient dense, and then I'm going to not get them on Amazon. I'm going to go to the company and I'm going to take the time to create a relationship with the company and take the time to say, all right, I have to go in and actually say, ship me more. But companies are picking up on stuff. And so a lot of companies have their own subscriptions. So you don't have to go on Amazon if you don't want to. So by doing those things, it keeps me from feeling stuck.
Hmm.
And creativity and joy for me go together. So if I'm feeling stuck, if I'm feeling oppressed, if I'm feeling depressed, I try and find something I can make. Cup of hot chocolate, a wonderful meal, inviting somebody over for tea, creating, just sort of like creating that connection, creating a reason. And I'm a huge foodie and food person. Um, and I don't even know if we ever talked about this before, but I did use intuition to lose 85 pounds after my son was born. I used to weigh 85 pounds more than I do now. Fun fact. And that was after I lost that after my son was born. So he just turned 23. So it's been 24 years. And after I had my daughter, I like gained a normal amount of like 25 pounds and then it just came off. So So yeah, there's always more stories.
I love all the stories and I love all of your advice because I think in that simplicity
Mhm.
of a walk, great sleep,
Mhm.
eating healthier, cooking at home, connection with other people, finding those supplements, whatever they are, that
Yeah.
are bioavailable for your body to use
Mhm.
makes such a huge difference. And like you said,
Mhm.
it's not rocket science. It doesn't require an additional degree or, like you said, spending tons of money
No,
ordering things. Sometimes it's the simplicity that makes a difference. And I think too, that mindset shift of I don't need to be available for everyone else's emergencies.
absolutely
That
not.
right? We can obviously if we have small children, if they call out to us but your children are
They're
older
in their
children.
20s.
They're
Yeah,
in their 20s.
they're fine.
They're fine and capable of making it through in
Which is
independently.
what you want. You don't want
Which is
kids to
what
be
you want.
dependent. But I mean, think about it. That's the point of having kids is to instill them with the concept of independence. You want to be with them, but the goal is for them to fly out of the nest and survive and do well and thrive and fall a little and figure it out and come back if you need to. But if we're there, if we're always there, we're doing them a disservice
Mm,
because we're saying, I'll be here forever. No, I won't. No, that's not the point. The point
no.
is, you got this. I believe in you. Give it a shot. Try it out. And I'll tell you something else as far as finding supplements and finding things like that. One of the things I do with clients when I help them to lose weight and using the intuition, which is the easiest way to think of it is muscle testing. So doing muscle testing for like a yes, no. I take them on a guided meditation, imagining that they're in the grocery store of life. So they have unlimited amount of money, and we're going to walk through the grocery store, and then I am listening while we're doing all this testing, and I'm writing down, oh, okay, well, let's test for broccoli, rutabaga. I intuitively am connecting with them and coming up with this. And then they are testing. I'm like, what do you think about that? So I'm teaching them both how to use muscle testing for their own answers. And then I'm saying, let's apply this to you walking in a grocery store. The reason why that's powerful, you will only get a yes, no from your body about what you want to eat if it's available. Your body, if you're testing for what's in your refrigerator, that's all the answer you're going to get. But your body might be dying, longing, craving cucumbers, and you think, oh, I love cucumbers, but nobody else does in the house, so I don't buy them. So while we're
Mm,
in this meditation of the grocery store, I can walk them through every department, including supplements and the wellness and everything like that. And I can say, are you feeling like there's something in here calling to you? And they'll say, yeah, actually. And they will always come up with it themselves. They will always just be gravitating towards magnesium or something, just they've got it. Their body, as soon as they're connected in with their body just guides them. It's this really gentle process. And then I can be there to sort of feel when their body's like, we need another answer. I'm like, let's just hang out here for a minute. Let's see what else comes up. Maybe it's something out of season. Maybe mangoes are out of season, but we can get some frozen mangoes. It's sort of, let's just play with this. And you can, infinite money, infinite time, and things like that. But I find that to be one of and anybody can do it. After I teach you how to do it, that's a permanent skill.
mm,
My job, my promise is that whatever I teach, you don't need me. I will teach it to you. We'll practice. And then you have it. This is now a permanent skill. You go use that and go be awesome. And then call me and we'll have tea.
I love it. I love it. And I think that's such a a really important factor in finding good coaching and good support,
Yeah.
that whoever you're working with is
Hmm.
someone who's going to foster skills and the development of being able to more deeply understand, trust, and care for yourself.
Absolutely. Because that's the key is really to connect. The way that I like to start talking about intuition, because it's sort of people understand the concept of intuition. Sometimes they actually mistake it for instinct. So I like to qualify instinct versus intuition is instinct is if I had a baseball and I threw it at you, you would either try and catch it or you would duck, depending on who you are. Intuition is you're looking at me like you're going to do something. I don't know what it is, but something is about to happen. It's more of a sense. It's like this sensation in your energy field. It's not instinct. Instinct is a reflex. It's your nervous system firing. Intuition is a lot more subtle. It's a subtle energy technique. So that being said, I usually take it one level up and say, are you so tired and so overwhelmed that you can't make a decision? And people say, yeah, all the time. Okay, that's where we're going to start. I like to keep the conversation in decision making. If I can teach you a quick way to make a good decision, get you calm, get you still in your body, get you clear, answering a question that's really at the root, at the core of what you really want to know, I can show you how to get a quick yes or no answer. And then you can practice that, gain some experience, gain evidence, try little things before you try it, little questions before the big questions. But now your brain is working with, oh, this is just a way to take action. Instead of delaying decisions, I have the confidence to still my breath and body, get inside, ask a question that's potent, clear, less than 5 words, all the things I walk people through, get my answer, and move on. Because not making a decision, it drains us. Not making a decision makes us tired when we're analyzing, we're thinking, we're asking other people their decisions, their opinions, we're gathering data, we're Googling it, we're trying to read about it, we're just gathering and gathering. And that's where the overwhelm comes from. If we just could push all that to the side, come into our own knowing, our own embodied intelligence, which is very easy. I teach people to do it on calls all the time. I could teach you how to make a decision in 30 seconds or less. Walk through the steps, boom, and then it's just practice. After you have that, you're not afraid to make decisions. So you make better, better, bigger, bigger. Now you have more time because you can make quick decisions. You don't belabor anything. And therefore you have more vitality because you're not being drained by these any question, big, small, what do you want for lunch? Should I quit my job? It doesn't drain you. You just can pause, take 3 breaths. Yep. Okay. Moving on. Next question, next decision. And therefore you sort of clear the debris so that the vitality can come back to you. And I feel sure that's one of the reasons why I find life to be easy because I have over 15 years. I mean, don't get me wrong. I didn't show up this way. I was always the person who said, I'm not spontaneous. Don't ask me anything. I am not spontaneous. And I have many memories, but it's because of the way I was brought up in a household where it was really just my dad's opinion pushed on us. And so if you were asked a question, it was dangerous. There was a certain danger of like, if you say the wrong thing, that's not what I want. I'm going to be angry. And when I get angry, things get bad. So I just went into like, I don't make decisions. I don't like spontaneity. I have to think about it because it was a safety issue. I needed to
Mm.
be removed from the danger. And even then, it didn't matter because we were just going to do whatever he wants to do. So it was sort of weird. But that vitality, that knowing, It's like a spring. It's just this constant spring. You know more than you think. The thinking is lost in the sauce. Or I like to say it's just sitting in a rocking chair. You're just rocking and rocking and rocking and thinking and asking. You're not going anywhere. Get up and go. That's why I call my calls, my discovery calls, I call them get up and go because it's just about let's get you out of that rocking chair and go. Living is winning. Live. Make a decision. There's no bad decision. You're either going to take a longer way to get there or a shorter way. You'll get there.
I love that because I think a lot of people get stuck. And I know in the past, I would get stuck thinking if I choose wrong, in quotes, then it's either it's not going to happen the way that I want it or the way that it's supposed to. But it's
Hmm.
interesting you said that because a podcast that I follow, she had this prompt, um, and she was saying it to herself every day. So, and I love the prompt. So I said, I'm going to put this in my phone. I'm going to read it to you
Yeah.
because I think it's better to hear the words exactly right versus paraphrase. So literally pops up every day on my phone. How do I feel right now that I have 100% certainty that everything in my life is manifesting beyond my wildest dreams and there is nothing I can do to fuck it up? And I
Perfect.
I heard her say that and I was like, yes, this is from Emma Dunwoody, who does the Human Design podcast. I was like, I am immediately putting that as an alert every day on my phone.
Hmm.
Every morning at 7 o'clock, I read, how does it feel? And I'm like, it feels really good. It feels like I can just go, like you said, to take your words, to just go live life, to be
Yeah.
free, and to realize that anything I do is
Hmm.
ultimately going to take me to the most wonderful end point and experience I could
Yeah.
ever imagine, and then some. It's better than I can imagine.
And the genius of that phrase is I feel. No one can argue with how you feel. You get into arguments when you start saying, I think. So when my clients come and I say, how do you feel? If they say, I think I'm okay, I know that they're in their head. They're not actually in their body, and I'm going to have to start talking to their body. So I just go, okay, get on the table. But and 15 years as a medical massage therapist has given me a lot of experience in hearing words, but also picking up on the energy of someone's body because they're not always congruent. They're not always aligned. And so I'm like, okay. But it's so interesting because she says, how I feel. And a one thing too, for people who are just starting to come into their power, just starting to stand in their power and say, I'm not doing anything to you. This is my boundary. This is just me. I'll give you a good tip. Nobody can argue your feelings. So if someone says, are you coming over for dinner on Friday? And you don't want to do it, you say, I don't feel like that would be good for me. Well, what we already had plans. I made other plans. I don't feel like that would be good for me. And no one can argue your feelings. They can be upset, but if when you say no, I I'm not sure, as soon as you get into if there's any crack in your armor, people will argue with you and they will say, but we already made these plans and you always do this Friday and the family always gets together and it's always this and all of a sudden you're defending yourself.
Mm-hmm.
Feelings exist. They're indefensible. Nobody can say, I can't believe you feel like that. And if they do, so what? Let them say that. But that's not an argument they can win.
Hmm. I love that so much. And I think that's such a great strategy for anyone who has experienced those kinds of toxic relationships, whether it's friendships, family, extended family, coworkers, a boss, you
Hmm.
know, there can be many people
Hmm.
who will try to convince you otherwise.
Oh
And
yeah.
I think sometimes it takes trauma or an event or going through something to like you said, stand in your own power and be like, I know what's good for me.
Yeah.
And also, I
Yeah.
probably will not be continuing to connect with you if you're trying to
No.
convince me that I want to go. I don't. I I'm
And it
not
gets
into it.
tricky.
Yeah.
And of course, it gets tricky with family, and there's a pattern. But
Mm,
I can tell you from experience, I stopped going to Thanksgiving,
hmm.
and I said, are you coming over for Thanksgiving? And it was obvious the answer was supposed to be yes. And I said, no, I'm taking the kids to Chicago. You're not going to be here for Thanksgiving? No. I didn't argue with them. So remember, standing in your own power means you're not pushing on them and you're not letting them push on you. It's not about winning or an eye for an eye or revenge or any of that. It's just about saying the facts. I'm not going to Thanksgiving. You're not? No, I'm going to Chicago. They can process that whenever they want. It doesn't matter. But you've just stated a fact. There is no argument here. And then the next year, all of a sudden, now you have precedence. Are you coming over or are you going to go to Chicago again? Yeah, we're going to Chicago again. Oh, well, we're going to go somewhere too. Great. The further away from me, the better. But that's what I'm saying. Like those little steps, make some little steps and say, you're not going to do it. Just do, I feel like I need to stay home. That's one of my favorites. Are you going to go to the party, the event, the thing? No, I feel like I need to stay home. What are they going to do? Like come with a crane and pick me up off my couch? You have to just find somewhere to start. Find somewhere where you can say, that's not what I want to do. I'm tired. I'm feeling fragile. I'm feeling vulnerable. More people are not going to help me. I need to tuck in. You know what I mean? And find the people that support that, even if it's just a couple people. And the other ones will lose interest very quickly.
Absolutely. Yes, I will say that is factual from personal experience. And I think what I struggled with is the conditioning of people pleasing
Mm-hmm.
and you're supposed to do XYZ. This is what we do without
Yes.
question. And as I became more self-empowered,
Mm-hmm.
had autonomy, and I could decide I don't want to. That's not in alignment for me. And I
Mm-hmm.
love how you said like it could just be a no and that's it. Um and it's totally okay to block people even if they're your family. It's
God.
okay to unfollow. It's okay to not respond to phone calls. I think there's just this conditioning that we're supposed to continue to hold relationships because people are our blood or we've always done it this way
Right. There's a
versus
pattern,
there's a pattern. Yeah.
an expectation. But it's interesting too, because that is normally a pattern for women. It's
Mm,
the good girl syndrome where, but if you were a good girl, you would be quiet, complicit, and you would go along.
hmm.
And it's the brave boy syndrome. We're going to do this because he's brave, he's bold, he knows what he wants, he's a leader. But girls, there's this underlying conditioning from back when I was a little girl, just speak for myself, about being the good girl. Well, you have to be a good girl. You have to be the one taking care of your brother and your dad and the house and the laundry and the food and this and while my brother is doing nothing and sitting and not getting any heat for it. So some of that conditioning is collective. It's not just your family, it's a collective culture of people pleasing. And when you realize that you are healing the collective by calmly saying no, you're modeling it for your children, maybe your friends' children, maybe your friends, or
Hmm.
the people who happen to hear you. Just sort of, I always like to say, you are a mobile sanctuary. When you light up and you feel good about yourself and you walk into the world, you shine into the world. You don't need to win an argument. You don't need to do anything special. You don't need to say the right words. You don't need to be wearing the right clothes. People feel you. You walk into the room and the room feels different because you are just shining into the world. You are a mobile sanctuary, and people feel that. They're magnetically attracted to that. And they will look at you, they will sit with you, they will just talk to you. And I mean, I hugged my grocery store cashier this morning because while we were checking out, she was talking about her autistic daughter. And because I bought black beans, because that's the other thing, because I'm half Mexican, so got to have a pot of beans on the stove. And she said, "Oh, I love beans." I go, "Me too. I really like these and the black beans versus a pinto versus the all the other ones." And she said, my 2-year-old baby, her granddaughter, she just picks them up with her fingers." And I said, "Well, why don't you give her a corn chip? Give her some tortilla chips to play with." And she said, "I never thought about that." And she said, "Should I show her how to do it?" And I said, "No, just let her explore it. Let her like play with it and break them and, touch them and everything. She's 2. Let her work that out. Just love on her, be there, say, yeah, we can make a mess all over this table, but we're going to keep it over here. Let her play with it. Let her figure it out. Give her the opportunity for self-discovery. Just because she has autism doesn't mean she doesn't have the human spirit of self-discovery." And she started to cry. She said, "I'm
Mm.
going to come and give you a hug." And so there we are, like in the grocery store, crying. But this is what I'm saying about the mobile lighthouse is always on, you know?
Mm.
You're always shining. And even if you're having a bad day, that's fine. Have a bad day. But I guarantee you with certainty, I am telling you this just from my heart. It's just a feeling. I guarantee you that somebody's day is better because you're in the world. I challenge all the people that I help and coach and talk to. I challenge them. One day, just today, look around. I'll bet one person is really, really happy and grateful that you're in the world today. And every single person brings evidence to the table that says you were right. And it's not about me being right. It's about them seeing that they impact the world in a positive way, even a tiny way. Doesn't matter. It all counts. Every blade of grass is part of the field. So that's why I like that. And that's also why, for my program that I'm coming up with, I'm focused on women over 50, because women over 50 are in this really interesting place. So as a woman goes through her life, she goes through the 3 phases of life, just like the tri-goddess. She goes from the maiden to the mother to the matriarch. So the maiden is the one who waits to be rescued, waits for the good to come, is the good girl, stereotypical in our culture. The mother, whether you have children or not, is the good that comes. They arrive and things are better, no matter what. The matriarch is the one who has moved into the place of experience and is a wisdom keeper. And so, as women move from that stage of motherhood into their matriarch stage, that coincides with menopause and your shifting hormones, and your intuition increases because your body's not focused on being able to make babies, take care of babies, that having to do with the biology of creating another human, facilitating another human, and taking care of them. And so a lot of women feel lost, but it's right at the cusp of their most magical phase. And that's where I like to come in and say, let's get you cleared, emotionally unblocked, back making decisions quickly, back in your vitality, back so that you're not tired anymore, not overwhelmed, not overthinking anything. You are a queen. Queen does what she wants. She doesn't make bad decisions. She can apologize. She can say, oh, I didn't realize the impact of my decision. Let me adjust, let me shift. But she's not afraid to make a decision. She is who she is. She knows what she's got.
Mm. I am just about to approach the matriarch age in 2 years. So
Yay!
I'm very excited about it. And I'm excited that we really are at a point where there is this celebration, appreciation, and more of a movement than at least I can say I was aware of
Oh, yeah.
when I was in those other phases of my life. The maiden phase, I was not really seeing that matriarch piece.
Yeah.
It was kind of, and I feel like it's still very conditional, like
Mhm.
maiden to mother to gone, just gone. No,
Just invisible
invisible. We don't want to see your face. It's got wrinkles and
and gray
you're
hair.
not in
Don't
gray
want to see
hair
that.
and you're not necessarily helpful because you can't populate anymore.
Uh-huh.
I'm being a little facetious, but
Yeah.
just this idea of like when I was in my 20s, like
Hmm.
all you could see was like your 20s was the time of your life.
Yeah.
And then I hit my 40s and I was like, no, it's not.
Nope, nope,
No,
nope,
it's
nope,
not.
nope.
Spoiler alert, it gets much better. Uh,
It does. And that's the age, it's 36 to 40 that psychologically women hit the brakes. They all say, "Oh shit, I'm not happy. I did the thing. I made other people happy. I got an education. I was thin. I was desirable. I dressed well. I got a job. I'm not happy. I'm not happy. I'm actually angry because I never got to do what I wanted to do. It's like
mhm.
clockwork. 36 to 40. Watch out. Watch out for that. That's like the volcano is opening. And then when you get to 50 and 52, in the shamanic world, it's 52 is when you become an adult because it is the first time that you have experienced all of the astrology. It takes 52 years for the astrology. I like to say it's when you go through the whole sky. But after 52 years, you come back to exactly the astrology, the stars, the alignments, and everything of the year you were born.
Mm.
And so then you are an adult. And then you become an elder 12 years later. You're still not an elder. You're just not a kiddo. And I love the concept that you have to go through the sky. You have to go through a complete cycle of the astrology because it's not something that's particularly European or American to think about. Keep going. You're not 52. Still a kid.
Yeah, I love that. I'm still a kid.
So much permission to learn and grow and make decisions and mistakes and bump around life a little bit more.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like it wasn't until my 40s that I really met myself.
Oh, absolutely.
And now I'm like, well, now that I met myself, I don't want to be somebody else. I just want to be me
Hmm.
and celebrate that and explore life as me, myself,
Hmm.
you
And
know?
you can see that progression as we get older. You can see the progression when you go out and you see girls, for example, who are like 14. If you take 20, 14-year-old girls, they look like cookie cutters. They all look the same. They all have the same shoes, the same Lululemon shoulder bag, the same haircut, the same look on their face. And then you get to their 20s and you're like, it's like they're cousins now. They're related or something like that. You cannot find 20, 40-year-old women who look identical. It's not possible. And 50, 60, no way. no way you're going to find they don't look like anybody but themselves. It's this becoming. You become yourself every year. So I completely agree with you.
Yes. Oh, it's such a delicious way to look at it.
Mhm.
And I feel like at this point, I'm sure whoever is listening wants to know, okay, I'm in, I love this. I'm a woman over 50. I want to be less tired, stressed, and overwhelmed in my life. How do they connect with you, work with you? What do you have coming up?
First of all, if you're listening to this and you do fall into the category of I'm a woman who is tired and overwhelmed and having trouble making decisions, one thing you need to know. I love you. I
Hmm.
love you. I was you. No matter what. You work with me, you don't work with me. You're amazing. So I have created a 6-month program to talk about this. It's called the Intuition Academy. And so you can go find more information at myintuitionacademy.com. If you want to do some of my other stuff, I've got other stuff that I do, but really that's where you want to start. And you can go there and download what I was talking about with that answer any question in 30 seconds. I put a little 11-minute video together. If you give me your email address, I will give you the video for free. I'm also doing webinars because it's easier to walk through. So I'll be doing free webinars every so often, for sure every 2 weeks until the academy kicks off. And then probably monthly, just for fun, just to like walk through. And if you continue to work with me, awesome. And if you decide, oh, okay, well, that's as far as I want to go, also awesome. So yeah, come on over, myintuitionacademy.com. You can download the video, you can see when the next webinar is happening, and you can certainly get on a call. And I would love to talk to you about the 6-month program because it goes every year. I'm going to do 6 months Intuition Academy, and we're going to go through all of the steps so that you will have unshakable self-trust, self-confidence, vitality, easy decision making, and action. You will take bold action, and it will be second nature to you.
Mm, that sounds amazing. And I'll make sure that we put that in the show notes. So as somebody's listening, they can just drop into the show notes and click and go explore and get
Yeah.
connected with you. I want to thank you so much because I feel that this is so divinely timed for you to be sharing this wisdom. There were at least a few dozen recommendations, suggestions, things that have you've tried and have worked for you that someone
Mhm.
could pick one and just run with it and give it
Yeah.
a go. But I thank you so much. I really enjoy following your journey, being your friend, supporting one another.
Yeah.
And of course, look forward to the next book that you're in
Mhm.
the not so distant future. So we'll stay tuned for that. If you're catching this in the future, I will make sure that Atlantis gives me everything. So her latest projects are in the show notes and you can connect with her whenever you're finding this podcast episode.
Beautiful. Thanks, Kelly. I love you. I love hanging out with you. I love watching your journey, and I admire the way that you put life together.
Oh, thank you so much. I appreciate that. Received. And
Mm.
you've also made me get very excited for both my 50th and 52nd birthdays. So I will be ready to
Celebrate,
celebrate those.
celebrate for 2 years. Just start at 50 and just keep going for two
Just keep
years.
going. I love it. Stay tuned for that, everybody. Well, thank you for listening. Thank you for being here. And we'll see you next time. Remember to stay curious. Bye for now.